So we're in there. There's reports of cryptids and wild men and dog men and all sorts of weird creatures in the forest. We got Ash to make like a whooping sound, like this sound like one would make. Didn't seem out of the ordinary at the time when we're doing it. Anyway, so it makes this sound, incredible sound. And then a little bit later on, done it, and we hear this noise, this like strange, almost sounded on first thought like a repeating kind of whooping. It sounded at the time, exactly the same as the sound that Ash had made. And bearing in mind, this is like 1 o'clock in the morning, in the middle of Delamere Forest. Nobody goes out there. I don't think we saw another soul.
Hello and welcome back. As always, it's Stan here. I'm talking to some very, well, I would say to me, kind of famous, in my regards, because basically these guys, I'm joking. These guys are amazing. They're two wonderful people that I met at the start of the podcast over a year ago. And they're just two wonderful people sharing the love for the paranormal, ever fearlessly delving into the unknown, experiencing it for themselves. And tonight, we have Ash and Greg from the Pursuit of the Paranormal podcast. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for being here and welcome back.
Yeah, thanks for having us back. And congrats on the book and the second book that's going to be coming out in the future. It's been great following your journey as well. That's congrats on.
No, I appreciate that. I don't know how to write. That's the thing. Like, I just wrote a book and I thought it's probably going to be terrible, but it's just an honest account of events. And luckily, people have responded to it really well. And yeah, I'm just midway through kind of writing the second one, which to be quite frank, it's a lot scarier. I mean, I've really gone all out to reveal all the things that I didn't reveal in the first book. It's not nice as an experiencer to write those things. It really isn't, because you have to relive those experiences. So, which is why I have a lot of respect for you guys, because you guys have had a lot of first-hand experience, but you've also had conversations with other people who've had pretty wild experiences. I know recently on your podcast, you've spoken to a guy from the RAF who's experienced certain UFO activity, and by people telling the paranormal history of certain locations. You kind of go through interactions, experiences with the paranormal, kind of talking about poltergeist-like activity. Like, you guys just have I'll just describe it as a rainbow of paranormal activity. You guys have so much exciting content. You do a lot with all of it with absolute respect and fascination. And it's reciprocated. I do listen to you guys when I'm too busy to do my own podcast, just kind of hearing those stories. And it just puts a smile on my face every time. So well done, you guys. You're doing really well.
Thank you. Yeah, nice. It's a journey. I was saying just before Ash got on, it's a grind as well. People don't realise doing it on your own. Wow, props for that, because me and Ash have discussed it many times that if it wasn't for both of us or two of us doing it, it'd be very infrequent. It is a grind. It is a grind. People don't realise getting the guests, recording, and then changing dates and people cancelling on you, and then getting it edited, uploaded, then trying to push it out to people and then not getting any feedback, really. That's one thing that me and Ash have commented based on. Like our TikTok, it's instant feedback on the live streams, whereas on the podcast, you might get the odd comment, but we get regulars that will message us directly to say, oh, I like that, or that was a bit wild for me, or I'm not sure about that. But in general, you don't really get a great deal of the feedback, which is a strange medium. There's literally, you can see the numbers of download, but that's it. You don't know if it's good, bad, or indifferent.
It's so quiet out there, because even with me, some views I'll get a couple of hundred views, some videos I'll get a couple of thousand. You don't tend to get many comments, and I do kind of wonder, is it because it's not good enough, or you do kind of question, what you're doing. Is it right? Is it good? Every now and again, you'll just get that one comment where someone says something positive, like their story inspired them to tell their own story, and that in somewhat achieves your mission. And I know people have been, commenting on your videos too, so I do know it does reach people. But I do kind of wonder if there's still a stigma about talking about the paranormal, even on the internet, because there are a lot of people out there who are fascinated by it, and it does take a lot more to say what you truly think, because when you comment, it's out there in public and everybody can see it and respond to it, and you can invite all sorts of different responses. So I'm kind of on the side of thinking that people are more aware of the consequences of saying that, and are put off by that maybe, but at least seeing more and more of these podcasts pop out there, we're normalizing it. We're saying, okay, like, yeah, this is entertainment, of course. This is also education. This is an invite for you to tell your own stories. Just like I remember, like, I think Ash, when I spoke to you the last time, you told the story about the pub ghost, and which I thought was fascinating, because you say, like, I'm the UFO guy. I don't normally see these kind of things, but there was this one thing. And it just takes that one moment of sharing that story that can inspire somebody else, because there are people out there who are absolutely traumatized. Like myself, I had complex PTSD. Well, technically I still do have it from my paranormal situations. I've seen some extreme things I haven't even told you guys about yet. Some people are just too scared. And like I say, you guys set an example for people to follow. Like I say, it's not just entertainment, it's education, it's inspiration. Yeah, it's all part of the fun. So I want to ask you guys, like, what has the last year been like since we last met? I know you've been on a lot of adventures. Like, has there been any standout moments? And do you think, like, your mindset is where it is now compared to a year ago? Do you believe it's the same, or do you think it's changed because of those experiences?
So for me, and Greg kind of alluded to it with the TikTok stuff, because we never really did. We had an account on TikTok for a few years, but never really did anything with it. And last January, we were in 2025. We were like, let's just really focus on TikTok. And we had like a plan to release every day some videos, and we started doing lives in like March or so, thinking we'd go on some investigations. We'll just live stream it while we're doing it and see what happens. And the growth we've seen has just been absolutely phenomenal. We like tripled our followers, and when we're doing the lives, so I thought maybe get like 12, 15 people watching, something like that, but we're getting in the hundreds of people watching like throughout the lives, and everyone's commenting and wanting to, and what we do is like we kind of make the viewers part of the investigation. So we'll ask them, what do you want us to do next? What do you want us to shout out? Ask us some questions, and we'll ask the spirits the questions and stuff. So people in the comments are like getting involved. And we kind of built a big community around it, where on the lives we'll see the same people in the chat and liking the posts and sharing the posts. And then even in the chat, you see the same people talking to each other and like greeting each other in the comments. Like, and they've sort of met each other through our lives. It's like a proper like community that we built on the lives. And so for me personally, being a UFO guy, usually the last year, I've really focused on more paranormal stuff. And that's kind of where I obviously still do a lot of UFO stuff. I had a meeting yesterday about the UFO identifying website and our plans for that. But I've gone a lot harder on the paranormal stuff the last 12 months. And it's just opened my eyes so much to all these different locations we've been to. Never done so many paranormal investigations in my life in the past, probably even 6 months. We had like 3 last week and got 1 this weekend. Like, it's just going to these places. And like, we went to 30 East Drive a couple of weeks ago. Obviously, a very famous kind of location.
I saw that one. Yeah, that was giving me the heebie-jeebies, as they say.
It was crazy, and it kicked off there. And like in the run up to that, we did like a deep dive into the whole history of 30 East Drive and sort of not stuff people usually talk about on podcasts when you watch or videos about it. And there's a lot more to it than people sort of realize. A lot more than I thought. And then going into investigations back of that, like my whole kind of approach now to paranormal in the last 12 months has changed so massively. And it's exciting. And we're doing stuff. Obviously, me and Greg go out a lot together. He lives quite a few hours away. We've seen a lot of each other actually like the past 12 months and even in the past week or so. So that's been a good part of it as well. And I'm like, my mind is as open as ever it's ever been. Like, as soon as you start thinking you've sort of got a grasp of something, your mind gets opened again. You just think, I don't even know anymore. I don't know what this is. I don't know how to approach some of these things. I don't know how to react to some things that have just happened. And like at 30 East Drive, we had an absolutely crazy moment where there's 5 of us in the house. We private hired it out. There's 5 of us. We were all upstairs. We were doing a TikTok live, and the girls Hunter Investigate were doing TikTok live on their account. And nobody else in the house. It's just us. And the girls had like Wi-Fi cameras, like motion cameras in the different rooms around the house. And whilst we were all in one room upstairs, one of the cameras went off in the lounge downstairs. And it was 3 massive bangs, proper bang, 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 and then followed by another massive bang. So we literally listened to it in real time as the bangs are happening. And it's like, what is downstairs? That's one moment I was like so freaked out in that moment. I was like, we're upstairs. Something is now literally below our feet, making these massive noises. So I don't even want to go downstairs. I don't know. You know, I usually don't get scared, or I'm quite blasé. It's like, no, it's fine. I can deal with this. When that was happening, I was proper like, I actually like squealed on the live. When I watched the footage back from the live,
I've done it.
I make such a weird noise. I'm like, what is that noise I just made? But it's proper fear noise. What is downstairs? Like the last 12 months, it's just been moments like that where it's just, I have no doubt, you know what I mean, in these things are happening. Like, I've always been skeptical minded with UFO identified UFO stuff. We sort of get an answer for most of the sightings. We get lots of sightings reported to us, and we can explain most of them once we investigate them. With this stuff, where we've been going headfirst into it ourselves, experiencing these things and not having any answers, that's where I start to get like uneasy. So like, I can't find answers for this. That kind of scares me a little bit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it kind of delves into the fear of the unknown, doesn't it? Because that's partly why so many people are afraid of the paranormal. It's because it is the great unknown. It's the vast blackness of space, essentially, that we can't seem to find a form within it. So, but fair play to you guys, because you can't really talk the talk if you haven't walked the walk, so to speak. So actually being in those experiences and gaining data, essentially, like observations and shared events as well, that's quite a special thing. Yeah, I'm kind of curious with these events, like especially with, you say it was 30 East Drive? It was East Drive either way. Yeah. These scary places always have really normal names. It's like my haunting place was called Sweetman's Road. You think, oh, that sounds lovely. No, it was terrible. East Drive sounds quite friendly. No, scary house. Either way, when I watched you guys on the lives, and I was getting like, obviously you guys know I've mediumistic abilities anyway. I was getting really like, no. So I did eventually have to switch off because I thought like I don't want to connect with that right now. But when you are in those situations and experiencing things for yourself, how easy is it for you to know like what is the difference between like something that could maybe be explainable? It could be psychological in terms of one person gets frightened, if it's reciprocated, another person responds, and you, there's almost human instinct as a group, really respond and run away from a certain event, basically, compared to something that feels just, you just know deep in your bones, like, hey, I can't explain that. That feels like odd. Like in those situations, are you able to differentiate as much, or is that something you more so do after when reviewing the footage and maybe getting a better view of the situation?
I think it depends who you're with. I know when we're with the girls from To Investigate, they're very jumpy.
Yeah, they're awesome though. They're great. I mean, they're brave, but they're honest.
And then, so like when me and Ash go out, for example, and we went to Cannock Chase last year, and strange place, loads of weird stuff coming through on the word banks and whatnot. And then we go somewhere. I'll go somewhere with Sarah from To Investigate, and she freaks out, and then she freaks me out, and we have to like stand back to back. She's like, "Let's go back to back." So we're covering all angles. I think when me and Ash go, we're a little bit more, I say laid back. There's some very weird shit that happens.
A bit more grounded, I think.
A bit more grounded, yeah. We're a bit slower to emotionally escalate. I think that's quite a good way of saying it. But I think personally, I think we can go somewhere, and if something happens, we've got an idea straight away if it's something out of the unusual, should I say. Like me and Ash, we'll hear something or see something in the forest. We've got everybody in the live stream as well with us, like Ash said, on this journey, and people going, "Oh my God, I can see stuff." That gets us a little bit amped up, but I think we still remain quite calm. I think we've been doing it so much now, although 30 East Drive is a very creepy place. I didn't really want to spend any time on my own anywhere in there, but I do think now we've got a bit of an understanding of what would generally be something strange in that moment. So we might react to something, then think about it, then afterwards. So, for example, we were in Delamere Forest last weekend.
I was just thinking of an example. I think you're going to say the same one now.
So we're in there. There's reports of cryptids and wild men and dog men and all sorts of weird creatures in the forest. We got Ash to make like a whooping sound, like this sound like one would make. Didn't seem out of the ordinary at the time when we're doing it. Anyway, so it makes this sound, incredible sound. And then a little bit later on, done it, and we hear this noise, this like strange, almost sounded on first thought like a repeating kind of whooping. It sounded at the time, sounded exactly the same as the sound that Ash had made. And bearing in mind, this is like 1 o'clock in the morning, in the middle of Delamere Forest. Nobody goes out there. I don't think we saw another soul.
So it was really heavily raining as well.
It was raining. There's almost a bit of sleet in there. And we've got it. We've got it on the live stream download. Because that's one good thing about the live streaming, that although we're out to everybody live, you get 30 days to download the whole thing from TikTok. So we can, anything that weird happens, we can clip it from TikTok and still share it with people afterwards who were not able to go. But that in itself, that was weird. And straight away was like, that just doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem right. We all went towards it, but I don't know about you, Ash. I feel quite calm when I go to these places now. Feel like we've done it a lot.
Yeah, that's good to get a neutral response as well. Because if you go in there afraid, usually like emotions do tend to interfere with the way that you perceive certain things, also the way certain events tend to happen. I know these things, but if you go in there neutral, calm, then yeah, it's definitely the right way to go. But you said you made a noise and then you heard it repeated.
Yeah, so like you watch like Bigfoot hunting shows and stuff. Like a typical thing they would do is do like a whooping noise, which is the noise that the Bigfoot allegedly makes to sort of show themselves or call out.
Right.
I, having never even attempted any type of call before in my life, thought, let's just try something. I don't know what it's like. Obviously, what you hear in your own head is different to what other people hear. I made these a couple of times. I made these loud. I was quite surprised how loud it went, actually, because hear it then echoing around the forest after I'd done these loud whooping noises. And it was literally, probably 20 minutes later afterwards, we were walking in this certain part of the forest, and we heard that noise coming from, it sounded like a little bit of distance away, but still close. It was, because in a forest, stuff echoes, you can't really sure where noise is coming from. But we are nowhere near civilization at this point. So, like, where this noise is coming from. And it sounded similar to the noise I was making, like this whooping noise. And so I heard it first, and then Greg heard it, so we all spun around, and it was like, what the hell is that noise? And then I think Greg might have been like, are we going to go towards it? And it's like, we all go, or we don't go. Like, we have to go together, because we don't know what this noise is. We were calling for a Bigfoot making these noises, and we've seemingly got a response from these noises. So it's like, what the heck is making these noises? And it was loud and like quite like a deep noise. It was awful. And so we sort of tried to head in that general direction, but we didn't hear it again.
No, it didn't. It repeated a couple of times. That was it, wasn't it? And it's
just
weird.
Made you brave enough to go towards the sound.
Just
like, you go away from it.
Yeah, but that particular part of the forest is where me and Ash and the girls, to be fair, we've been there before, and loads of weird stuff happened where that particular site is. We've had screenshots. People have sent us screenshots of like a head and a hand around the tree. I'm looking at us. That was probably the freakiest.
That's so creepy.
And bearing in mind, it's the middle of Delamere Forest and we're on our own, and we haven't seen another living person for hours.
I need to take a look at this. I'm kind of curious now.
If you to see the face and the hand is pinned on our TikTok channel. It's one of the top 3. So you can have a look at that.
I'll certainly take a look. But it seems to be these events, when you're on your own, you tend to experience more things. And you could say it's down to the limited number of people viewing certain things, but I'd say more so on the other side, really, because when you go to these places open and empty, you tend to have less noise, I suppose, in terms of like psychic interference, you could call it, or extra influence, where you can just interact with whatever may be still there, still active, begins to then show itself. Don't think I've been brave enough to go to a forest yet, so well done. I may build up to it at some point. I'm going to Oxford, I think County Prison, next month actually. The TV presenter Barry Ghai. He's doing like a session there. Whatever you think of him, anyway. I've met him before. He seems like a nice guy so far, but I'm just curious to see how the investigative side goes, where they're using actual equipment. I've no idea how it works. I'm still learning myself anyway, but I'm just interested just to observe and see if I can pick up anything myself. But it's going to be an interesting night.
Is that next to the castle?
Yes, next to the castle. Yeah, he did an Oxford Castle one about a couple of years ago. That's where I met him for the first time. I didn't even know he was on TV. It just said I think Oxford Castle Ghost Investigation with Barry Ghai, and I just thought that was the name of the man running the events. I just didn't notice in tiny letters special guest. I think that should have been the clue there. But I just didn't really figure out what was going on, because it's like, well, halfway through the investigation, I'm thinking, this guy knows his stuff. He seems to be really confident. I'll just follow him and see what he does. And then he started signing autographs, and I'm thinking, why is he signing autographs? And eventually, someone explained to me he's actually from TV. He's from Help My House Is Haunted. And this time around, I won't embarrass myself anyway. But either way, he's a nice guy actually. And I say it's, with his kind of work, it tends to be more, there is a push towards the entertainment side. So sometimes you do have to exaggerate and stretch certain things, which is frustrating, because I know he does have a genuine fascination with the paranormal. He wants to work with real data, real information, and make those observations. I do believe he has a certain degree of psychic ability as well, just from the things he was picking up on the way, which I thought was fascinating. But he presents himself as being very much a grounded, observationist, in terms of like I say, getting those experiences and from his various equipment. But yeah, I'm interested to go back and now I know who he is, maybe ask the right questions and learn from that experience. But we're trying this new place I haven't been to before, and it sounds a lot scarier. I mean, literally, the last time I was at Oxford Castle, I saw a table levitate as well. That's like one thing that's, I actually did put it in my book, actually. Like, I don't know if I told you guys this. It was my I think it's my second visit to Oxford Castle, down in the crypt. Like, the crypt is one of the most active areas. There's a lot of weird stuff down there, and it's predictably so. But yeah, we did table tipping there, and I, at the time, had an opinion that table tipping is just entertainment. It just seems like something anybody can fake. I set up this experiment myself to make sure there are no variables in there that could explain away. But yeah, long story short, we had like a light left on the floor just so you could see the shadow from the table, so you could see it still connected to the floor. We did this experiment where I put the hands down, I started, asking questions, and saw the table moving, and I was thinking at the time, well, one of us may be involuntarily doing it. Then I asked each of us to lift our hands off one by one, and it was rocking backwards and forwards. Weirdly, I was the last person on there with the hand on just at that moment. It was still rocking backwards and forwards. I was thinking, I'm not doing this, am I? So I was still questioning even then. But then at one point, all of our hands were connected. It started rocking violently. It twisted, and no word of a lie, I saw it for myself, lifted off the floor for just half a second, just so quickly. I could see the shadow separate, then it just went clunk. But it like twisted at an angle as well, that it wasn't fully flat. It was the weirdest thing. And when it dropped to the floor, like, I realized that the temperature dropped. Like, it was quite cold in there anyway, but I couldn't see people's breaths. But suddenly we could see our breath at that moment, and like the air was floating with this weird static energy. Like, my hair was like standing on end as it is now. My hair never stays down, but it was like you see the hairs on our arms standing up. It was like really, really weird. But these things do happen, and I don't have an answer for it. It doesn't necessarily mean it was paranormal, but technically it is, because it's outside of our knowing of current science. But either way, I saw a table levitate. I didn't do it. The people that I met there, I didn't know as well. There were new people that I met at the time, but I set up the experiment in a way where it's very hard to push down and to fake that. So I don't know. But either way, I get the thrill of those experiences when you do see something that you can't explain. There is a fear thing, of course. But definitely. Yeah, but I get it. And yeah, I'm looking forward to doing more of those things. So I'm even thinking about Hellfire Caves, actually, just
I've been there,
doing a session there. I know a lot of people do visit there, so it may be polluted somewhat though, but I want to go there when it's quiet and get it at the right moment. So I have a few questions I need to answer there.
That's a strange place. It's a strange place. We went there in the daytime last summer just to have a wander around. Very weird place. You'd like it there, Ash. Super weird. One of the other things that we've done over the last 12 months as well, which I've thoroughly enjoyed, is me and Ash have started doing more talks, paranormal talks.
So I saw that. You were at the conference last year, Parachat.
Yeah, that was amazing. Well and frustratingly, it was the only talk that didn't live stream or record properly. It was a nightmare.
Yeah, the internet dropped out like as we were starting.
Yeah.
And they never realised.
Yeah, no, it's really good. We'd been put this talk together, which this year coming, we've got a talk next month, 5th of March is the first one of the year, and we've got quite a few right up to Parachat again in October with Spooks and Spirits Fest the month before.
It's going to be about 10 locations we're visiting to give this talk this year.
Yeah.
A proper like UK tour of going and giving this talk or another talk.
And it's a super cool talk that covers both UFOs, or UAPs as they are now, and the paranormal. We've been able to sort of combine stuff, which when we go to the talks, not many people cover both. They cover like one or the other. So it's been good. So that's one thing. We sort of finished the year, we started doing that. And like you say, with the TikTok, and we're going out a lot more because I spend half my time and most of my weekends up in the northwest of the country now. So, which then means I'm only a short distance away from Ash. So we get to hang out more as well. So we've been in person, met up in person more times in the last 12 months than I think we have done in 5 years. So yeah, it's been cool.
That's great. Like you're doing these talks, and like obviously one thing more than anything, and it's like, you know, doing a podcast with your mates basically is like one of the most special experiences. Really, it's something to really treasure. So yeah, I'm glad you guys are really enjoying that. And I want to ask you, with the events that you do, for one, like you need a different kind of braveness when standing in front of people that are living to do a presentation. Sometimes you could say that's equally as scary as dealing with the dead. But either way, how do you find people respond when you tell people like their stories? Like, so I can imagine like you get like a live response in person there and then.
Yeah, I think the Parachat one was really good. That we were in front of a crowd of fellow paranormal people, and some of them do more science-based stuff. Some people just go out and do their own thing and urban explore and paranormal. I wasn't too nervous. Once we got up there, I wasn't too nervous because I thought, I'm giving this information out. We're confident in the information. We'd got video clips of our own stuff that we were using and experiences that happened. So it was just recounting what we understand and the facts, because the one we do is talking about the parallels between UAP and paranormal investigations. So it's something close to our hearts. So we live and breathe this from the podcasts, from the investigations, from the live streams, from everything. So it's good to get the information out there and see people's faces going, oh, I didn't know that. I didn't realise that.
Yeah, because you're just spreading the love, really, but spreading the knowledge, because it seems to be this big wave that seems to be ever increasing of people finally talking about, you know, the paranormal and just normalizing it and just actually having an intelligent conversation rather than just dealing with somebody saying you're an idiot because you said you saw a ghost, you're probably lying or whatever. It's nice that we moved away from those days where you're not allowed to even talk about it, let alone just even learn from it. And now there's so many these amazing people out there that are just part of this big wave. And I can't believe how lucky I am. Like, you know, the last year I've met some amazing people. Like I met somebody, I think Chris Berryman, who channels an entity called N1 from way out and beyond. And, you know, it's interesting the learnings that this thing shared. Like I've seen people channel in front of me before as well, so I do know that to be possible. But either way, like this thing, I mean, how on earth can you channel an entity that's far more advanced than yourself? And that was an interesting conversation. Like I've spoken to, like, you know, dream experts. I spoke to psychologists, parapsychologists as well. Specifically, I spoke to a genealogist as well randomly. Even my sister's been on the podcast at one point, which was hilarious. I've had like an actor as well, good old John Shusang, which I'm butchering his name, but it's like people from all walks of life experience these things. It's like even John, like he's an actor. You'll actually see him in He-Man, the He-Man remake, which is out in June, I think it is. He's playing Ram Man. But it just shows like people, like you could be an actor, you could be a scientist, you can be an office worker, you can be a factory worker, you can be somebody who works in Tesco. Like it doesn't matter what your profession is, what your background is. We all see weird things. What's so humbling about this last year, especially like, you know, watching your podcast and the people that I've got to spoke to, had the pleasure to speak to. I mean, it's humbling. It's amazing to see it actually get out there. And but I suppose it leads me to my next question for you. So you mentioned about kind of marrying the ufological side of things and the paranormal, like, talking about poltergeist activity and such. Like, I don't fully understand the full connection just yet, though. But interested in you guys kind of explaining like how you think those two match up, and does one influence the other, or are they kind of one and the same essentially?
There's two different ways we kind of look at it. There's one thing which probably lead to Greg talk about. I'll lead it on. So, but for me, the click happened for me was, again, it was Delamere Forest a couple of years ago, and we were filming a show with Danny Moss for his TV show at the time. He'd asked us to come and do like because he's more paranormal, but he asked us to come and do a UFO episode. So he'd always been interested. So we went to Delamere Forest probably over 2 years ago now. And as we were in the forest, we started off with like doing it more CE5, the human initiated contact, sort of meditation, calling out for whatever the entities are to come and show themselves to us. And as we were filming, things was ticking in my head. I was like, so we're in a field in the middle of the night, in the dark, in a small group, in a meditative state at this point. You start off with a meditation, and we are asking for these entities, whatever they are, to show themselves to us, to let us know that they're there, to give us a sign that they're there, they can see us, they can hear us. I was thinking, what's the difference between that and being stood in a haunted house, asking the same questions? Can you show yourself to me? Can you let us know that you're here? Like, can you communicate with us? So we're asking the same questions. So the thought then clicked in my head is, why are these not possibly the same thing? Like, they're just showing themselves in different ways. We don't know what these entities are a lot of the time. We don't know where they come from or how they kind of appearing to us. But one's classed as UFO and one's classed as ghosts or spirits. How do we know that they're not the same? We're sort of doing the same thing, just in a different method to it.
That's a fantastic point, actually. I've never thought about it that way, because ultimately humans are so like, we don't like not knowing, as we mentioned earlier in the conversation, but so we'd put labels on things. This is this is that. If I can't define it, it's paranormal. It's outside the bounds of our defined normal, as in scientifically understood and such. So UFOs, poltergeists, various different things, again, they just are our labels. Like, our labels aren't entirely accurate. We put it's descriptive words for colors. Like, colors are based upon our eyes' ability to perceive a certain level of reality, but we're so limited in what we can experience. It makes complete sense that they could be one and the same, because I've heard more and more people that on the UFO scene, UAP scene now anyway, speak about them being interdimensional entities. If you're switching between dimensions, therefore theoretically you're working with a different level of physics. I don't think the way physics works in this dimension is exactly the same as every other's. So if things were to cross over, I mean, it would possibly explain a poltergeist-like activity where things are interacting with other things in very unusual ways. And also, those up in the sky that can be initiated through CE5 contact, it's them actively, consciously deciding to come and communicate. But I've always wanted to see it for myself, because I've heard, I know you don't really like Dr. Greer so much as well, though, but I learned about CE5 through him and his videos, and it's an interesting concept because he proclaims that yes, you could do it by following a certain protocols, and I've seen videos of it. So yeah, I mean, how does CE5 work, and how would you normally initiate contact with those, I suppose, from a different dimension or a universe from you?
I mean, it all starts with the kind of the meditative state. So you play the certain tunes you can play, like sort of noise that plays, so it's like sort of sending out, and you sort of doing meditation. It's all about your energies and being grounded. You're kind of getting all the energy up, like from the earth through your body, and you're sending it out, and then you sort of sending your location. So as you're sort of in the meditative state, you're then sort of saying, we're here, we're in Delamere Forest, we're in a country called England, we're on planet Earth, in the Milky Way. This is our location, and you're using the energy that's coming from the earth through your body and sending it out into the universe or to the ether. And theory is that these entities, whether it come from a different dimension or whether it's come from the further reaches of space, they can then locate you from that energy. they can then show themselves in your location. So you're looking out for that. So that's kind of the very quick basis of what kind of CE5.
That makes sense. I know people in meditative states. I mean, I've studied. Do you know about Bashar? Have you heard about that? There's a guy that channels an entity called Bashar. He shares these amazing. I'll send you the link. I actually recommend you check out this guy because I found it too wild at first. It's like how eloquent this thing was, but the way he speaks, there's something about it that really kind of gets up my spine, kind of thing. It's like it feels odd, but what's being said is actually incredibly insightful and knowledgeable. It's not something you can just pull out, of your head just on that spur of the moment. Like a lot of thought needs to go into that. So, but I recommend you check out this guy because he seems to be like one of many on this wave of those who channel these entities. And I'm just curious to see like it's become a much bigger thing. Like, because I think I remember a year ago when I was speaking to you guys about the disclosure movement. I think one of you was saying, "Oh, I'm not so sure it will happen because we've been at this point many times before where it's nearly happened, and it hasn't." But something strange seems to be going on more than ever because I've seen recently more well-known news outlets like CNN, for example, talk seriously about UFOs. Like usually it's a joke. It's oh yeah, we'll just get this guy on just to fill in this segment because it's funny and we can laugh at this person. I think for the first time I actually saw a news presenter have an actual intelligent conversation with somebody who's experienced something and also somebody who's heading part of a certain movement. So how do you think things have been in the last year, and do you think we're any closer? Has it also adjusted your idea? So I suppose all these events, has it changed your concept of what disclosure is? Because to me, it seems like it's a steady filtering of certain information, just bit by bit, rather than going the full-on, full whack and causing ontological shock, which can be dangerous worldwide. So, oh, by the way, you know that thing you've been worshipping all those years? There actually is something else out there beyond this entity. It's going to scare people. I do know that the Vatican is preparing something, supposedly. Of course, I don't work with the Vatican, so I can't validate that. I do know certain government bodies are beginning to protocols to know how to react if a certain thing is disclosed. So I know there is some level of seriousness at the moment. Do you still think we are where we were a year ago, Ash or Greg? Or do we think we've actually moved?
So I think it's a strange one. As you were asking the question, I was thinking to myself, we're in a strange community, I say community, worldwide, that those who believe, and those that don't are just finding out. So there's a core of millions of people that already, you could tell me with definitive proof from the government, whatever that might look like, that aliens are real. They've said that UAP are real, but that aliens are real. This is what they are. We know all about them. We've been working with them or whatever. And that wouldn't shock me because kind of already, well, I believe it's the mass people that I think are starting to, I say, up with the utmost respect. I think there's, like you mentioned, there's a more serious angle coming. There's more prominent people. We put out a video on TikTok a couple of days ago about a UAP that was filmed over Syria from an MQ-9 Reaper drone over Syria 2021 showing instantaneous acceleration that was leaked or disclosed and backed up by a report from a military witness in a report years ago, and it ties in exactly when this video was taken. So they put together and said, actually, this is the same event. So I think people are more accepting of it now. I think people either believe or they don't. It doesn't matter what you say to them, they'll either believe or they don't. Same with ghosts. People don't believe in ghosts, that's fine. But I tell you this with almost 100% certainty, not so much with the UAPs, but with the paranormal, that even though people don't believe, they know somebody who's got a ghost story, or they've got a ghost story. Everybody's got a ghost story, regardless of whether or not they believe in ghosts. There's a guy at my work, he's had a very strange paranormal experience, and he told me about it, and he goes, but I still don't believe. I'm like, how would you not? But you literally witnessed like a holy grail type thing, and they still don't believe it. I'm like, so some people will believe or they won't. I think over the last year, it's become more prominent in mainstream, good or bad, I don't know, but it's not a joke subject anymore, I don't think. we're having conversations. We had a conversation with Ghai, that was an ex-military pilot who flew in the Iraq War, saying about, well, coming forward and saying about UAP and disclosure, and we even went as far as reptilians and those elites, and also the fact that the story that you see on the mainstream media is not the same story that is happening behind the scenes, and the war they were fighting was slightly different to the war that was being shown on the TV. So I think we've come a long way in the last couple of years. I would definitely say since New York Times in 2017, I think things have changed.
Yes, I heard about that being kind of like the threshold moment.
Ash is the UAP grounder for me. I go straight up. I go with my UAP stuff, and I send him stuff, and I'm like, what about this? What about this? What about this? It's always an air balloon, or it's always a balloon, and I get it. I'm the normal person, everyday person in the street about UAP that sees this video and goes, holy mackerel, it's all kicking off. But Ash is my sensible person in my ear going, don't be daft.
Well, it's always good to have that grounder, because I think Ash would have a hell of a lot to teach me, that's for sure. I only really got into this about a couple of years ago. It's just a realization. It's something weirdly enough, like, I don't know if you both felt the same when you realized, like, I felt like I already knew. When I came to realize it, that I was more, rather than learning something, I was just reacquiring something I previously knew, if that makes sense. Because so much that I've seen through my life that have just been right there, whether it's a first-hand experience or bits of information where, I mean, for example, like, you've literally spoken to an expert, like somebody who, do you say is it the RAF or somebody?
No, somebody was in US military.
Marines. Excuse me, sorry, US military. So that's somebody who, very high standing. These are people that go through like rigorous training, like psychological, physical training. They're tip top, and even after they finish their training, like, they're still incredibly highly skilled, like intelligent people, reasonable, grounded. If they're coming to you and telling you that they've seen something, that in itself, like, is that not enough, aside from seeing it literally yourself? They've got a lot on the line, especially if they're still in service as well, saying what they're saying. Because, at any point someone could go, actually, like, you said something I don't want you to say, I'm going to take your position away. And that position would have taken years and years and years to get to as well. So there's a lot on the line there. So these men and women, like, very bravely going out there in the limelight and saying these things for mankind ultimately, because we spent centuries, eons, just being told this is what reality is. You don't even need to explore it for yourself. We have it all ready for you, packaged, and then this is up for you to live within these bounds. Don't you dare go beyond the bounds, because you'll be seen as a blasphemer, a heretic. You'll be, in I think Japanese culture, that there's this expression ghost, basically, like, if you betray a belief system of a certain culture or tribe, you'll be treated as a ghost. You'll be ignored by the community, never spoken about again, disowned as such. We have this way of controlling ourselves, but then you begin to question, like, why do we do that? Once you begin to realize, actually, there's so much more beyond the bounds of what's been defined for us. And I'm very much, I'm an ex skeptic, I would say, because despite my ridiculous experience that I had when I was a kid, I literally had an out-of-body experience at some insane entity that eventually followed me into reality and haunted my family home for over 10 years, like, with serious paranormal activity, warping of reality, things being thrown across the room. I've had, like, possessions, whistling, music, smells, like, I've literally opened up my bedroom door once in the middle of the day and it was night. It was able to change the perception of, yeah, it sounds crazy, but I could see through the window. I could see the stars and the moon, and it was dark in my room. Before I entered, I could see the sunlight. Get your head around that. I mean, that may be a psychological event. You could explain it away as that, though, but talking about multiple different witnesses. So I've been through years and years of that. But then I went the opposite way and thought, okay, like, I began to laugh at the idea of it. I started watching Most Haunted at the time, and I love the show, great entertainment, but that began to change my perception of it all as if it's like entertainment. And eventually I felt more comfortable seeing it as not real and being a skeptic, because I couldn't comprehend the gravity of what I'd seen. I'd literally seen this, like, dark, horrible entity literally in my room. that's been witnessed by somebody else, like that's frightening. And I'll never know what this thing was, though. But thankfully, because of my friend, she managed to get rid of this horrible thing. Yeah, sorry, I hate talking about I hate to just talk about it any time. Really, really gets me quite emotional. Ignoring that, though, I went for years being a skeptic, and I completely get why people are like that, because sometimes it can be a bit more comfortable. And sometimes just being ignorant of those things, it just keeps everything in a nice, understandable bound. But then soon enough, it comes knocking at the door, and it does eventually find its way back to you. So eventually I had to accept what I'd seen. Like I say, before I even wrote that book and started to talk about my story, I had to go through a psychological treatment for CPTSD to fully understand what happened, all the things that I've seen, and be brave enough to talk about it. So sometimes it takes a lot of effort to fully understand these kind of things. I know you guys have kind of gone through your experiences and come to accept this is the way the world is. But some people out there are really, really, really struggling to get over that hurdle, I suppose. So, I mean, I do eventually see a time where all of this is pretty normal, really. Like, this is just part of our scientific world, extra dimensional entities, what we previously understood as poltergeists, and so much more.
Yeah, I was just going to say, well, first of all, well done on sort of getting overcome your barrier. And I think it is that reason why a lot of people, like with Greg's example, of he's had stuff happen and he just still doesn't believe. It's probably just the easier thing to do. It's like, I just want to go to work, earn my money, come home, raise my family, and repeat. I don't want to have to sort of accept that these things that we don't understand or what we're being told by our governments or our parents, whatever, isn't true. Or it's either that or they just, a lot of people don't have the time for it. People are very, very busy, especially in that sort of westernized world, very, very busy with lives and stuff. We just don't have the time to properly think about it. Like something will happen and it'd be like, that was weird. But then kind of it's gone. They don't really think about it again because they got the kids to look after or they got to go back to work or they got rent to pay and they're just stressing about money and sort of more kind of sort of imminent things they have to focus on. So they're not really got the time or the inclination to think about the bigger picture. I think it would take a lot to kind of overcome that. And I think, like you mentioned, with the fighter pilot we spoke to and doctors and these high-level people, that's probably going to be helping because in the past it's kind of been the domain of like a hillbilly from a farm out in rural America nowhere that is getting abducted, stuff like that. And people kind of sort of laugh at that sort of the situation. So it's going to be these, when we've got fighter pilots and intelligence officials and Congress people coming forward and saying it, I think that's what it needs to kind of shift that overall sort of perception that people have. That this isn't crazy people out in the sticks that are seeing this or drunk people. It's the people that want our country or protect our shores. These are the people that are seeing this and coming out and risking their careers and their reputations on saying this. So, I mean, going back to kind of the disclosure thing, I probably always come across a bit of a negative nanny with like my kind of take on it because I think personally the last 12 months, I've had like a couple of other names come forward and a couple more videos come out, but nothing real that's really been moving the stick. In reality, it's kind of we are in the same thing where there's going to be more hearings or more things coming out. It's like it's still the same stuff. Like we need more. We need something big to be coming out rather than like say this drip feed stuff. And this drip feed's been going on for so long now, especially from someone like me that's kind of so engraved in this in this community where we've seen it time and time and time and time again. Last 12 months has just kind of been the same old. Most of it's been the same people talking about the same things, talking about the same hearings. It's like, yeah, it's good. It's definitely good. Definitely opens up a little bit more, but it's still nothing that's going to change for other people. It's not going to be appealing to the wider mainstream. With this stuff, it's got to be something different to actually get people's attention than what we're seeing.
Yeah, I think we, if it were to happen, it would need to be a tangible thing because I think technically, they are already here through, there are many people that I've spoken to that, I think most of them I do believe are channeling something, that's for sure, something not from here. So are they not trying to find ways to announce gradually over time in a way that's not going to scare the living daylights out of humans? But I suppose, do we need that kind of event where a leader of some country stands in front of the world and says, this is the new revelation, this is the reality that we understand so far, and acknowledging the fact that we don't know enough yet to know what this all means. Can humanity handle it? I ultimately believe that knowledge should be afforded to everybody. It doesn't matter your background, who you are, where you come from. I think knowledge should be afforded to everybody so you can decide what to do with it ultimately, because there's so much about our life that is hidden that I've discovered over time for myself. Knowledge is power over time. But I've met some people that have just said some incredible things. I don't know. There is definitely something else out there. I'm very confident of that. I don't believe that there ever will be disclosure, to be honest with you. No, because we seem to talk about this thing as if, like I described, being this big event. This is the one time that this happened. This is where things changed. I think eventually people over time will just wake up on their own. It's like Matrix in a way. The thing about The Matrix, I mean, great movie. Was it 1999 it came out? I love that film. There's a moment in the film where, of course, as we know, people like Neo are escaped from the Matrix. They're given a way out. There are some people like Cypher who are fully aware that they're out, who decide to go back in because they believe they're happier having this false world. I think over time people will just begin to feel like so uncomfortable in that untruth that it just will come out of people one by one. So we'll see what happens. Maybe 1,000 years time from now, who knows, we'll be in a different situation. I don't know. I have a feeling something's coming, but you could say that's my naivety because I haven't spent as many years as you both really in this subject. I know Ashley probably spent decades researching this thing. You've seen it all. All I can say is from a mediumistic side of things, there's something happening that hasn't happened to my knowledge in my lifetime that I've observed yet. So we'll see.
Well, I mean, the Marine fighter pilot we spoke to, he talks about an event in 2027 that other people have talked about. This 2027, even Lou Elizondo, I think, has alluded to something happening. This is meant to be like that moment where it's kind of can't be denied by anybody anymore. But they're going to be, even that's going to be kind of it won't quite be ships land and there's creatures coming out the ships. It's more like they show it for a little bit and then they disappear, and then they come back again and show themselves a bit longer to kind of get people a bit more used to it. And apparently that is coming in 2027, so very soon. But we'll also know then that whether it's happened or not, very soon.
Yes.
So it's not something saying 20 or 30 years or 100 years in the future. This is something that they're saying is going to be happening literally in the next 12, 18 months.
Hope so.
So we'll
That's
see.
what we need you to ground us. You ground us perfectly, so thank you. So you're not setting the bar too high. It's just like, yeah, we'll see what happens. Nothing much has changed. But let's keep watching.
Yeah.
Well, with me saying that, have you seen the Disclosure Day trailer? Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
What do you think of it in terms of somebody who's in the UFO kind of community, and how do you believe they've received that?
See, I didn't think it looks as good as the film Arrival, and that's one of my favourite.
That's awesome.
Have you seen that?
Yeah, Denis Villeneuve, the guy who did Blade Runner 2049, amazing director. But I love that film.
It's such a cool premise that these aliens appear and we have to try and understand what they're trying to tell us. I think that's as fantastical as these spaceships are and the creatures in those spaceships. For anybody who's not seen it, I won't spoil it, but that premise of trying to understand what they're trying to tell us and trying to learn their language, because who's to say that they're going to say anything or do anything that we understand? If they are, I don't know. It could be us from the future for all I know. But that trailer was quite weird, where she starts making those weird sounds with her mouth on there, and I'm just like, I don't really know what to expect. Is it a disclosure film? Is it, as in, you've got Close Encounters was like, you've got that kind of like these creatures appear and there's this event that happens. I don't really know what the full thing is with Disclosure Day. Is it an event that happens, or is it just that they start showing themselves? I don't know, but it looks good. I mean, Steven Spielberg, so it should be pretty good.
Well, the chattering noise at the start of it is redolent of a lot of channelers that I've seen. When they begin to communicate, they'll make this clicking as they switch between. I don't know what it is, but there's a commonality there. You could say they could just be making it up. Obviously, I can't discount that entirely, but it's just you need to see it for yourself for it to make sense. If you're seeing it in person, it's frightening because it's something I haven't encountered before. You're not quite sure how to respond, but I've heard them make a similar clicking noise. So I wonder if that's a reference to that, if he's maybe done his research and observed a lot of media, but it might just be another entertainment piece. But either way, Mr. Spielberg himself is very much, every so many years he does a film of certain significance, and Close Encounters was one of his earliest ones. It does align with a lot of things that people have learned over the last few decades about contact, which is really interesting. There's Schindler's List. Again, anybody else out there, it's worth watching that film once in your life. I know it's hard. I know it's horrible. Watch it and then wake up the next day and appreciate everything that you have, despite how the world is right now. You haven't got it. You haven't got what those people went through. But he did that with, it's said though, I mean, I can't confirm for sure, but it's said that he did that for no pay. So the actors got paid, the distributors got paid, everybody involved other than the director himself, because he saw that as part of his heritage. That was him telling the story for generations to come to look at and learn. And supposedly, from what he's been saying, disclosure date is that his third piece to humanity. So I think he knows he doesn't have many years left on this life anyway. So I don't know. I'm getting a feeling that's his last little. I'm going to give this one more try. If the world doesn't take this, fine. I've given this a go. Yeah, but how do you feel about that, Ash? Anyway, because I can tell you're sort of twitching, almost like.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the timing is what's interesting about this one.
Yes.
Like, even the name of it, Disclosure Date, is what we've been talking about on this podcast, is what a lot of UFO, UAP people have been talking about the last couple of years. And like, say, some of his significance and the cultural impact that his previous films have had, coming out now, literally, like, we talk about 2027, and this is coming out in 2026. It's like, does he have that knowledge? Is that why this film's coming out? So then he's putting this out again as kind of precursor to get people used to it. And if maybe they show themselves in 2027 in a similar way that they do in this film, however it happens in that film, it's just the timing of it is very, very interesting. What kind of I'm looking forward to most is how it relates to what's going on, like sort of now, and why now. Like I say, maybe it's not years getting on in years and stuff like that. But it seems really interesting that now this type of film is coming out again from Spielberg. So a few more months to go, and then we can find out.
Yeah. Well, what I can say is there's something coming, but I can't say much more than that, and I can't explain exactly why as well, though, because there's certain things I promise I can't say. But yeah, something is definitely happening. That's for sure. I really appreciate you guys taking the time and coming back as well. It means the world that you come back. Welcome. This time around, I'm a bit more experienced. I'm not anywhere close to being a professional presenter at all, though. But I'm better at managing this platform now, and it's been wonderful to watch you guys grow. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I think you guys are so kind of knowledgeable about the paranormal. Like maybe you should start your own podcast. But you already have. But you guys, it's terrible. But you guys are doing really well, and just keep going in the direction you're going. I think you're inspiring a lot of people, and I think you're part of, again, that wave of people normalizing the paranormal. It's an entertainment platform. Again, you can't shy away from that. But you're bringing it into people's living rooms. You're not faking things. You're just reacting to things. You're not Most Haunted, basically. Like, there are some aspects to Most Haunted where things did actually happen, though. But I know from people that I know in the crew that they were literally throwing spoons around and all sorts of different things, which is so sad. I used to watch that show religiously.
I think we all did.
Yeah, I'm interested to see like what guests you get on in the future. Like maybe if you can get a member of Most Haunted to join you guys and kind of share experiences, though, that could be really interesting.
We have had somebody on that was on Most Haunted.
Did you?
Mike.
Who was that?
Cavell? Is that his surname?
I can't remember.
Yvette?
No, Mike, the guy with the cat.
Mike, with the hair or no hair. There's a guy called Mike, I think it was. He was like, he worked with the presenter's husband a lot. I got that wrong.
I would have to. That's the thing. We've done over 360 episodes.
I don't blame you. It's fine.
It's wild. The amount of people we speak to, like yourself, it's insane. It's insane. The topics we cover, topics we will cover. We've got somebody that we're going to speak to who is written books for NASA and talks about cryptozoology. Awesome. Ex-military, US military as well. So he's coming up. We're getting debunkers on, because that's a very big thing.
I want to speak to more debunkers. Yeah, awesome.
So we speak to anybody. We've spoken to Hollywood directors before. It's just
TV stars of
TV stars. Yes, we've had
one of my favourite ones.
Yeah, he was brilliant. So we like to get as many different types of people on, really. So it's going to be more of the same this year. More talks, festivals coming up. So yeah, we're out and about. This Sunday we're going to a particularly creepy location called the House That Cries.
The House That Cries. Okay.
In Wolverhampton. It's named that via a local BBC news channel, because there was pools of water mysteriously appeared. So it was called the House That Cries. So we're there Sunday, and we're fortunate enough that we're able to private hire these places rather than going on like events with the general public. We've got a close circle of friends that we can all sort of chip together and make it more affordable.
That's perfect. So you can control those environments as well. That's the great thing. Like the evidence you get is far more stable once you can have a small group. You know where everybody's at, what's happening.
There's four of us on Sunday, and me and Ash went to a place in Leeds last year, and there was just me and him there for the whole night. We had the whole place to ourselves. So we're in a fortunate position now that we can do that kind of thing.
Something that TikTok also helps with. Like this one on Sunday has been paid for but entirely by money we made from our viewers on TikTok. It's like, say, we never asked for anything, but people just like to gift us, and then be able to then use that to then be able to do more events and private hire places.
Because you're feeding it back, aren't you? Though you're adding to that experience, and I think you guys did things for charity recently as well. I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, though. But you're also kind of giving back in that way as well. So that's fantastic.
So we done a whole month where we raised money for two charities, for Mind and for Orchid, which is like a men's cancer charity, and we raised £100 over the month just from donations and whatnot on our live stream. So we're very fortunate enough that the community, like Ash said right at the start, we've got a great community of people that support us, and we support other people, and we go on other people's live streams. We share when we can, and it's been wild.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for being here, and it's a pleasure. If you want to come back again, you're more than welcome to. But absolutely, I just love watching your journey. It's nice when you see two good people, like decent people, create this kind of art form basically, and treat it with absolute respect and fascination. And not everything can be considered to be paranormal, but either way, you're just on that journey. And again, you're walking the walk rather than talking the talk, so to speak, because there are a lot of people that deal with the paranormal who haven't really experienced it themselves. You'll be amazed how many podcasters are out there who openly say, okay, I've never seen a ghost, but my friend has, which is great to do a podcast. It doesn't mean you shouldn't do that. But like I say, that we're a rare breed where we actually have fully delved into it, knees deep, and probably further than that, really. But yeah. Right. Anyway, you guys take care. I'm wishing you all the best for your next oncoming year. Was it like February now? They've got a whole year's worth to go. And long may you keep adventuring and be safe as well.
Yeah, you too. You keep up the good work. It's been good seeing your kind of growth as well. Since we came on to sort of the start of your journey, so it's been good following yours.
Yeah, and that was a real privilege. Like I said, there's a lot more to come. You guys take care.
Choice, sharing dreams and blowing off steam. We'll lend you a hand, we'll let you stand, sharing stories about the unknown. Paranormal perspectives, we're here to inspect it. I'm a small, not a medium. Let us escape from this tedium, learning from each other, breaking barriers, a message of hope, birthed from the unknown. Who you gonna call? I'm not a ghostbuster. No proton packs, just crossing streams of knowledge. It's not so scary when things get hairy. It's not the paranormal, just future normal. Breaking barriers, no longer longer the carrier, releasing the fear and replacing it with knowledge. Understanding each other, we uncover a whole new point of view within you. Paranormal perspectives, we're here to inspect it. I'm a small, not a medium. Let us escape from this tedium. Learning from each other, breaking barriers. A message of hope, birthed from the unknown. The only stream we need to cross is the platforms to get the message across. Knowing each other, sister to brother. No ghost or spirit or demon will ever get the better of this medium. Paranormal perspectives, we're here to inspect it. I'm a small, not a medium. Let us escape from this tedium. Learning from each other, breaking barriers. A message of hope, birthed from the unknown.